Hi, my name is Katrina Pickard, and I am the founder of Solomon's Porch Ministry in Oklahoma City. I want to welcome you to Hope Rising Podcast. At Solomon's Porch Ministry, hope is not just a word. It is walked out in faith and in action by our volunteers that meet each month. And today, you get to step in the story of a dear friend of mine, as well as the Vice President of Solomon's Porch Ministry, Wanda McDonald. Wanda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Katrina. I'm excited to be here.
So, you've been serving with us for quite a long time, and when we moved into the nonprofit, you became our Vice President. How's that going?
It's going. I had no idea exactly what I was stepping into, but building a nonprofit is like starting a business. And thankfully, I had a little bit of experience with that, but it's been great. It's been a blessing, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Well, you're definitely a blessing to me with everything that you do and you handle for us. But let's dive into the heart of why you serve.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me, was there a specific incident or a happenstance that brought you into wanting to serve the unhoused population?
It wasn't so much a single incident, but in my family, we have we have members of our family that experience mental health challenges. And because of some of the things that my family members have gone through, I've come to understand why so many people end up homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what makes me want to be a part of the solution, because with so many people that are near and dear to my heart, it just really helps me to understand that folks just sometimes need a helping hand, and they need a compassionate person to walk with them as they just try to live and survive. And we can be that. And so when you started this mission, it was really, or this ministry, it just aligned with everything that I wanted to be part of, but didn't know exactly how to start it or where to find it. So it was a blessing for you to come along and invite me to be part of this.
Well, definitely glad. And that's a powerful story. And I think a lot of our viewers can relate to that, because mental illness, well, it's just something that's rampant in our society. And the more that we understand about it, the more that we can take efforts to assist those who are in need and who a lot of times end up being vulnerable on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. How has this affected your faith?
The one thing that really comes to mind and to heart when you ask that question is, it reminds me that we are the hands and the feet of God, of Jesus. And it takes it off of the paper and out of the Bible into real life.
Yeah.
And there's just so many different opportunities where I get to not just read and believe and comprehend, but to act in the way that God would have his children act. So it brings faith to life.
Absolutely. Well, as you know, we've had many discussions about this, but my son, Logan, he experienced homelessness several times throughout his adult life before he passed away last year. And I know for a fact that sometimes families are trying their best, but they still can't reach someone. And I look at us, the Solomon's Porch volunteers, as those who fill in the gap when there's such a disconnect between the family and the person for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I love what you said about how we become the words on the Bible by doing what we're doing. And that's really powerful and impactful, and it's going to impact our community, and it already has. Yeah. So, can you share a story of someone you met who depended on your why for showing up when we serve?
So there's one young lady.
Well, let me stop for a minute.
Oh,
So, you're over our clothes department.
yes.
Yes. So, why don't you tell us about the RV a little bit and then tell your story?
Oh, yes. So we've come a long way.
Yes.
We have a RV that we call the Clothes Mobile.
Yes.
And we started up with just one of those portable racks with two small shelves or two small bars on them.
Mm-hmm.
And we would put as much as we could on there, and then we would hurry and put more out to try to serve all the people that were coming through. But now we have this wonderful Clothes Mobile with an entrance and an exit, and we've got over probably 40 feet of rack to hang clothes, spaces for shoes, and all of those things now. Mm-hmm. So we are bringing people in and being able to serve women in a women's section and men in a men's section, and flowing them through where they're having an opportunity to shop. And we know many of them don't get that opportunity to get to come in, select clothes that fit them, that are in great repair, things that they would even like, not just need. Yeah. And it warms my heart that we can do that. And they're so grateful, so grateful.
It seems to me it's very important for them to have choice.
Yes.
Many of them don't get choice. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you have a story you could share?
So, in the early, it's a story of just how God works. Mm-hmm. In the early days where we went out and we only had the clothes rack, and it would be windy and the thing was blowing over, we would give out all of the clothes that we have. We would literally run out of every single thing that we had. Yeah. And I remember there was this one weekend where one of our guests, one of our sisters showed up, and she had no pants on at all. But we were completely out of clothes. And everyone just kind of, we knew we had to do something. And there happened to be a pair of leggings that had fallen out, and that was still in the trunk of the car. And we were able to provide that to that person. For me, it was an example of God's abundance. When you think you're out of something, when you think there is no more, you think there's nothing to give.
Yes.
God's going to show up. God's going to show up. You go open that trunk, you open that bag where you thought there were no more, and there's more.
Right.
And we have plenty. And the fact that we're all willing to open up our hearts and our purses and our calendars and give, it's making a difference.
It is. And I so appreciate your efforts. So if you had any advice for someone who wanted to join or to step out in faith and serve the unhoused population, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say show up. I would say just show up. Let us just surround you and give you an opportunity to take it in, and you will find your place. I would say there's a place for you for sure, and what feels right for you will be exactly where you're needed.
Right. And we actually had that happen. We had a volunteer just join a couple of weeks ago, I think about a week before our next serving date. And she was on a Zoom call with us, and she was like, well, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so we gave her the address, and then, we have a lot of different areas to serve. We have, help me make sure I don't miss one, okay? We have the cooking team. We have the serving line. We have a snack team. We have a haircut team. We have a pet care team. And we have a hygiene team. And the clothes mobile. Am I missing any?
The setup and tear down.
The drink station.
The drink station.
Setting up, tearing down. Yeah. So we've actually expanded. We now have 3 tents to put up on site.
Yeah.
And I love how we started with just about 10 people serving about 40 people. You weren't part of that at the beginning, but I'm so glad you're here with us. And now it's expanded to where we served 151 meals in February. That's amazing. Look what God is doing through this. And I'm so glad you are part of it. What have you learned from the people that we serve?
You know, one thing that it's a reminder. What I'm being constantly reminded of is gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people that show up on those Saturdays that we're there. They're at their ends, it would seem to the world, but they're so grateful for all the little things. They're grateful that you asked what their name was, that you took some time to just talk with them. They're grateful that you had a piece of clothing in their size or something that was their favorite color. And despite all the things that they go through all week long or all month long or however long they've been in this struggle, they're really appreciating these small things in the moment. And it reminds me that I've got to do the same because I've got so much to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I did leave off one of our group. We have a prayer team.
Oh,
and that's one of the things we do is we sit down and we take prayer requests and we pray with them on the spot. So it's a wonderful. God is moving big time in this ministry. And I'm so glad you're a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story and your insights and even your advice. It shows your heart and your strength and your wisdom. That reminds us that hope rises when we all move in faith and action. Your why matters, and I'm glad you're bringing it out to the public. So because of volunteers like you, hope rises, and together we are impacting our lives and our communities for the better. Thank you for joining us today on the podcast, Hope Rising.
Thank you, Katrina.